So this is actually something that I never thought that I would ever actually talk about again. But given that John Swan recently released his video connecting Anonymous Gene or Gene Anonymous to Chris Hansen, I kind of wanted to double down on some of this because there's some things that went on back in February of last year that I've never really discussed with anyone. So early on, when I first started actually trying to make content on YouTube, Onision was a fairly hot topic. Now, I will admit that when I found out that Chris Hansen was looking into Onision, a small part of me got relatively excited. It didn't take me long to remember that Chris Hansen was connected to the big Kickstarter scam, or the situation involving True Crime Daily, and the content being claimed, the doxing that Vincent Nicotra had done to Westmost and Yap Yap and other individuals, the blatant theft of their money, and just in general the degenerate behavior that we've all come to know at this point. Now, I have some interesting theories about Vincent Nicotra, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but specifically what I want to double down on in this video itself is the fact that yes, undoubtedly, indefinitely, Hansen and Gene are and always have been connected. So back in February of last year, some information was brought to my attention by an individual that I'm choosing not to name. I personally was asked by this person to follow up on said information and create a video linking to a document to teach people how that they could fight back against Onision copyright claiming content on their channel that may feature clips or footage of him. I made that video and I released it, and it wasn't much longer after that I decided to remove it after I had done a little bit more research. At the time, I did not realize that the link that I had shared with that video contained the docs of Onision and his extended family. This is something that I'm admitting, but I was fully unaware of. I was quite ignorant, and to be fair, was relatively ignorant to how a lot of things worked between YouTube and Twitter and just social media in general. But before I had removed that video from my channel, I got a contact on Twitter. I was contacted by none other than Gene V. Onion. This was one of the early Gene accounts, and he came into my inbox and said, "You liked my message? I'm glad." I asked him, "Why is that?" He proceeded to send me a link to show how Onision was able to copyright claim so many individuals so quickly. Then he proceeded to tell me that he was working on a dox for those that were still donating to him. So this just goes to show you that not only will Gene dox one specific target, he'll branch it out to multiple individuals and then take it even further to people that may support that individual. If you watch Swan's video, you'll see that he stopped at nothing to completely and blatantly harass John Swan as well. Now, after I'd had this conversation with Gene, eventually at some point he would slide back into my DMs and ask me if I would like to interview Chris Hansen. And of course, this was a bit of a starstruck moment for me because it's not every day that you get to talk to an individual that is as well renowned as Chris Hansen, even if you don't like them. This was very poor planned, and I did not have a lot of time to prepare. As a matter of fact, that phone call that took place all happened within the same day that Gene had contacted me. I made a video out of it, I put it up on my channel, and a few months ago I actually unlisted it because I didn't really want to be associated with the whole Chris Hansen situation and Onision and anything involving that. But just to show you that, and this will support John Swan's claims and screenshots of showing that they use Google Voice, you can see here that Gene Anonymous was asking me, "Are you sure that you still want to go with Digital Goon?" I said, "Well, that depends. What am I to do with the recorded call? Do you know any specific details of what Chris wants to talk to me about?" And he says, "We're not sure, not our department," and then proceeds to ask me if I want to use Digital Goon. I tell him sure. Doubling down on that, here's another screenshot showing that I'm telling him he can call me by my online handle, with Gene sending me a screenshot of the conversation between himself and Chris Hansen. And here's the screenshot itself of the conversation that Gene had linked to me, which I was able to click on, and if you look in the top left-hand corner, you will see Chris Hansen's name with his number blurred out. I still have the original screenshot of this. This just goes to show the negligence of this individual. Now, somewhere down the road, I continued to be critical of Chris Hansen online and on YouTube. There's videos that I had released, one specifically to follow up the phone call interview that I had conducted where I was critical of Hansen for continuing to work with Mike Morris, who is a known sex offender who was potentially facing charges not only for sex crimes, but potential insurance fraud and scams as well. I say these these things are alleged because I cannot obviously out this as matter-of-fact information. But as I continued to be critical of Hansen, eventually it led to me getting blocked. On June 13th of 2020, Chris Hansen posted a statement online about the investigation discovery documentary that was planned to be made. In one of his posts, Chris says, "No one is selling rights to a story to a network. That's not even how it works. And why would you not explore expanding an important story to a wider audience? Shouldn't the survivors' voices and the quest for justice go beyond YouTube?" And my comment to Hansen was, did you know what maps were before you showed support for it? Or was that another paid cameo? What's up with hiring Slug? He's a pathological liar and he's not a hacker, not to mention the crap he's been stirring and falsely accusing creators of having CP, etc., etc. This was immediately followed by a block from Chris Hansen. But my point still remains that Hansen has continued throughout the last year to almost 2 years, continued to associate himself with individuals who just can't help themselves. Now, going back to something that I said much earlier in the video with my theories on Vincent Nicotra, I undoubtedly cannot deny that Vincent was an absolute buffoon. The man was foolish and he did a lot of crazy and unnecessary things. However, that does not stop me from thinking that Vincent himself was potentially a fall guy, while other individuals like Gene and Alyssa, who I haven't even mentioned at all, continued to work behind the scenes to conduct the same exact behavior. The question still remains to me and a lot of other individuals, though. How is it that Vincent got the boot, but Gene was allowed to stick around if Gene was doing the same exact thing? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that Vincent gets outed for doxing and racism and sexist comments and things of that nature, while we still have another individual who essentially is doing all of that themselves and they're still around. This is why I think that Vincent was easily a fall guy and a scapegoat that was essentially just a target that they could put a face on to say, hey, look, this is the bad guy. Don't make me a martyr. Go after him. But as you can tell from just the sheer mountains of evidence that's available to connect Gene and Hansen together, Vincent wasn't the only problem. And to be quite frank with you, Gene's not the only problem. Here we have an award-winning journalist parading himself around as if he's not doing anything wrong. And I'm sorry, but Hansen, you are. You really need to take some time to put things in perspective and look in a mirror and see how everything that you're trying to claim against all of these drama tubers and YouTubers, you are doing yourself. And you're advocating it every single day. It's an absolute shame that you were so well renowned and yet you've worked on cases with individuals who have been subjected to heinous crimes, and those people, those very same people that you said you were going to bring justice for, have now blocked you, refused to work with you, do not want to communicate with you, and have basically wrote you off as exactly what you are. I don't really have much else to say on this subject. I just wanted to make some smaller connections to show you that this didn't just start at the top as it seems like it has always been. It started at like grassroots level and worked its way up to something much bigger. To be quite frank with you, it was my understanding from another individual who I will maintain the integrity of their name and not drag them into this, had said to me at one point, I am 100% confident that Chris Hansen is working with small YouTubers and potentially drama tubers to bring attention to him for his own personal growth. Because to Hansen, much like Vincent had said in the past, all publicity is good publicity. Let that sink in for a minute. Even if it's negative, even if it's bad attention, it's still attention. So Chris, for you to be telling people on national television that all of the drama tubers and all of the YouTubers that are covering these particular topics are doing everything and using your name for clicks and views, buddy, I got news for you. That interview that we did barely got 3,000 views. It did nothing for my channel. Your name meant nothing for my growth. And while it may have benefited others, it wasn't because of your involvement, but because of your actions. It's pretty much all I gotta say. There's not much left for me to cover in this video. I apologize that this feels so slapped together and last minute and very out of place, but it's just something that I wanted to talk about because I'm seeing a lot of this stuff unfold, and it's been almost a year since I've seen anything related to the whole Hansen situation, which, to be fair, that's because he's withdrawn quite significantly from YouTube to work on this investigation discovery project, and it's a damn shame because I feel like this is the exact same direction that we're going to see things go for the case with Davi Vanity. And it's just, I have no words. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one.